Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. A strawman fallacy occurs when someone distorts or exaggerates another person's argument and then attacks the distorted version of the argument instead of genuinely engaging. Now, why on earth would I start this video off with that definition? Well, you shall see in just a moment. Because, well, to quote Chris Jericho, you're getting added to the list. That was a terrible quote. I don't care. Let's move on. This article from Park Place. That Park Place. Go check him out. It's a fun little John F. Trent. He's got a wonderful way with words. I do enjoy his articles. But anyway, let's get on with the story. Unity game developer Scott Anderson, your name's added to the list, defends Marvel's Black Panther's developers' race-based hiring discrimination. And boy, oh boy, it is 100% strawmanning. Scott Anderson, a senior graphics engineer at Unity Technologies, defended Marvel's. You're doing it again, John. I just complimented you. Oh, Daniel Lalander's and her race-based hiring discrimination while she developed her game Validate. Okay, moving on. Let's get to the actual article. Lalander's admitted to race-based hiring discrimination during a presentation for Game Devs of Color Expo. I hate that. Of color. People of color. Person of color. I know I said this before, but when did it become okay to say that? All you did was switch two words around. One of them is derogatory. One of them is perfectly okay. All you did was take the back word, put it in the front, and put of in the middle. Help this make sense to me. I know you can't, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I know you did. I know you got offended by the term colored people, so we're just going to call you person of color. Do you understand what that sounds like? Let's put the country hick and accent to it and make it sound even more redneck, baby. Goodness gracious. Why is one okay and not the other? God, let's get on with this article. So I did a lovely little video on Lalander's and her own words, but hey, for the fun of it, for the funsies, so we can put everything into context, but hey, every video is someone's first. Let's go ahead and see what she had to say. Validate has a team. Now, this is her quote. This is her words from her video. Nobody's putting words in her mouth. It's what she said. Validate has a team of all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. Ladies and gentlemen, you be the judge of what that means to you. Don't let me sway your opinion one way or another. And I know the best way for the environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. Okay. Switch that around, replace, you know what to do, and see how you feel about it. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments, which is kind of what you're implying, heavily implying. You're, Lizzo implying. Oh, sorry. I'm not saying that, but you did. That is not what I'm saying. If that's not what you're saying, why'd you have to defend yourself so many times in one sentence? I'm saying sometimes it's hard to work for white people because they think that something may be okay. But it was really a microaggression. I hate that word. And no one wants to deal with that while you're trying to make a game that they love. So now that we have the actual words, what other kinds of lovely little things that she said? Well, thank you, John, for putting all this stuff. As noted above, Lalander's comments were brought to attention when she accused gamers of racism. Oh my goodness. Interesting how your actual hiring practices, which are, technically illegal, and a bit racist, but you're going to throw stones when you live in a glass house. She does protest too much, methinks. She posted on X. Let's see. Here's her quote. Gamers have been racist lately. Why? Because they disagree with what you're saying and because you have a heavier melanin content than others. Therefore, they are racist. That is apparently how it works. If your melanin content is higher than others, any sort of criticism in what you're saying is obviously rooted in racism. There can be no other reason. It couldn't possibly be that you said something stupid. Perhaps. Creating problems in your head. Nah, we're just going off of what you said, dear. I don't understand the outrage over video games. It's not an outrage over video games. It's an outrage over what you said, especially games that they have no interest in playing. Yeah, well, regardless, it's not the game. It's what you said on video. Your own words. I just stopped taking y'all seriously. It's okay. We don't take you seriously too much either. So, feelings mutual. When y'all start running around saying white people can experience racism, because they can. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but yeah, anyone can experience racism. Depends on, you know, sorry. Posting that tired-ass screenshot of the Google definition of racism. Well, I mean, we have to do that. People have to do that because you seem to be forgetting what the actual definition of racism is. Oh, let's see. Ha ha. So we have a reply. Being a okay, this quote, I think she's being facetious on this one. Ha ha. So being appropriately called racist is tiresome, huh? You could try not being racist. And her response is, yeah, I'm racist now. So what? Again, I don't take that seriously. If you think, now here's the gem. Here's the lovely little thing. Again, we're going to get to the star of the show later, but we have to go through with the things that particular individuals say on social media and think that nobody's going to call them out on their bullshit. If you think you can be racist to white people, you literally are. Oh, sweet summer child. I didn't imply anything. You absolutely implied a lot of shit. You implied heavily Lizzo-sized implications on what you said. Racism and prejudice are not the same thing. Oh, but when you are prejudiced against a group of people based on their race or ethnicity, that's racism. By pretty much by definition, almost. Racism is systematic. No, it isn't. Racism is quite literally prejudice against someone based on the color of their skin or where they're from. That's this. You're trying to change definitions, and people are fighting back against it because they think you're stupid. White people are not systematically affected negatively by racism. You should travel the world, dear. Certain groups of white people throughout history have been affected by prejudice based on where they're from. That's what? Okay, chat. I said it again. Oh my God. Comment section. Help me out here. Yeah. Prejudice based on where they're from. Okay. So if an Anglo-Saxon European individual is prejudiced, lobbied against them because they're Anglo-Saxon European, they're white. That means they're white. That's racism. Okay. Anderson defended. Oh, here we go. Here's where the fun begins. Here's where the Strawman fallacy definition comes into play and the necessity of putting that definition in the beginning. Occurs when someone distorts or exaggerates another person's argument and then attacks the distorted version of the argument instead of genuinely engaging. So, what did good old Scott Anderson have to say? People calling a black woman building a studio with all people of color a racist and equating it to a white man starting an all-white studio is wild. If the power imbalances that actually exist in reality that really aren't that way anymore, sure, we're different, sure, but there is no way these things are equivalent. Of course they are. They're absolutely 100% equivalent. Not because she wanted all people of color to work on the games because they wanted that perspective. It's because of the words that she actually said. Let's scroll up to the top. Where we go. Best way for the environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. I wanted to create a safe environment. That is the implication that you did not hire any honkies because you did not feel safe around honkies. That's what you implied by your statement. Back to Mr. Scott Anderson. This is, of course, ignoring that white men start studios that are all or mostly white men all the time and no one cares. Because here's the difference, Mr. Scott Anderson. When you start a company, most people, most intelligent people who aren't interested in checking boxes, will simply look for the most qualified candidate in the stack of applications. It's called a meritocracy, something that we have gotten so far away from, which is why our entertainment industry is suffering the way it is, which is why gamers are a little bit up in arms because of this DIE nonsense, because they see it as nothing more than, I'm going to check this box, I'm going to check this box, I'm going to check this box. What about the story? Don't worry about the story. We're checking boxes right now because you just have to have that diversity quota on your movie, on your TV show, on your video game, whatever it is. And because of all that, you're not getting the right people for the job. I'm sorry, there is no argument you can lobby against me on this one because of the state of the entertainment industry. Trash video game after trash video game where it's nothing more than what is seen as ideological shite. When all gamers want is the story. Focus. It's like, how simple of an equation is this where you can't grasp it? It's not complicated. It's quite literally not rocket science. Sure, it's computer programming, but you're not even talking about the programming or the mechanics of the game. We're just talking about the most basic concept of story, character, hero's journey. But all you're worried about is checking that box. If all you wanted to do was surround yourself with individuals of like mindset because you were creating a game for that mindset, sure, no problem. But that's not what you said at all. You said you wanted to create a safe environment instead of worrying about the dreaded microaggressions. And I don't even know what the hell that is anymore. That's a made-up word that came around a decade ago that doesn't seem to want to go away. So the idea that, mostly white men just hire white men. No, white men hire the most qualified person for the job. People, you cannot control who goes into what industry, who goes into what career path, who goes to school to learn whatever trade there is. So if your list of candidates, 10 people, if you're more concerned with their gender, their sexuality, the color of their skin, the melanin content, or what color their hair is, or what fucking pronouns they use, if you're more concerned about that than their resume of accomplishments in the industry that you're trying to hire them for, you're the problem, no one else. Anderson then justified race-based discrimination, worst case scenario, this is a result of trauma. Oh my dear, it's a result of trauma. This woman she started her own company. Just let that sink in. But it's a result of trauma. Her words are a result of trauma. She was able to start her own development company, hire other people, and put out a video game. Regardless of how that video game was received, regardless of how many sales it had, she did something that most people dream about doing their entire lives. And she was able to accomplish that. But it's all about trauma. This is a valid... context is completely ignored. No one's ignoring context because we're listening to her words. We're listening to her and we are believing her words. There is no out of context, unlike, journalists and some other orange man bad. Anyway, there's nothing to take out of context. Her words, her video, what is there to take out of context? Completely ignored in all of these discussions. I only hired black people because I wanted them to feel safe, and white people are microaggressions. Okay. This is a valid self-preservation tactic for black people, not a way to gain power over others. I don't think this has anything to do with gaining power over others. I legitimately do not believe she was trying to gain power over others. She was just being racially prejudiced against people she wanted to hire. Be more clear. We're going to use your words against you. We're going to use your videos against you, your speeches, and I'm so looking forward to GDC 2024 because the videos will get out, the leaks will get out, everyone's going to know what you're talking about, and it will be more of the same nonsense like this. But Mr. Scott Anderson, it looks like you're just another name to add to the list of people to ignore and stay away from your product. I wonder how the Unity engine is going. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments. Are we taking what she said out of context, Miss Lalanders? Is she prejudiced? Is she traumatized? Let me know in the comment section. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things. I appreciate you making it this far. See you on the next one.